And welcome to This Week in the Tech Boy podcast. We have so much to get to today. First, let's jump into our thetechboy.org website. We still have the same five articles that are the most popular articles on the thing. And like I was saying, like how for 9 days, no one had actually accessed the website according to our Sweetrix analytics. Now, according to Google Analytics, we're still doing pretty well. So I don't know what we're going to believe. I'm just going to hope and believe and pray that people actually, I don't know, within the span of 9 days, actually accessed our website, but we still have the same top five articles that we've had for months and months from now on. So I'm not really sure, but um, you know, this may be the only time that you've ever gone to hear this. So you guys put your hands together and start clapping. We might have potentially, maybe, could have been wrong about the application known as Snapchat. It might be actually one of the best applications known today. Just to throw out all the anti-Snapchat content that we've put out for 1.5 years. It says, uh, just read this article here. So yes, Snapchat's uh, technology is atrocious. It's trash. Okay, like it it the reels on there, as you guys know, are just awful. Of course, you have that stupid girl like the destroyer running around the malls. He, see, it, we, they, whatever is like 500 pounds. So take that as you will. And of course, they have the random like, I don't know, 110-pound blonde lady that kind of drags it around with her. And she tries to get them to date everyone. That's the entirety of Snapchat content, just in a nutshell. So, absolutely horrible, you know, content wise. But it is a decent application. You got your chat in there, and you also have your your uh your filters. You got your camera in there. Of course, you can save your photos to the local drive, and of course, you have your what's the last thing that you have? Oh yeah, your Snapchat My AI application. Which, I mean, if you think about it, that's everything that a teenager needs. And is that sad and horrible? Yes, that is. But I mean, if you think about it, teenagers for some reason don't really like Google anymore. They'll either just use like the first screenshot of the Google Gemini AI overview answer. It's kind of replaced the quick overview answers from like 10 years ago. Or they'll just go into ChatGPT, ask it a question, and just be like, "Hey guys, look, see, this is proof. This is proof. ChatGPT told me this. ChatGPT told me this." And then so have the Snapchat My AI on there. Let me just put it up here on the screen so that you guys on my phone so that you guys can see. Um, it's actually been interesting. Over the past uh few days. I've actually gotten Snapchats from actual real people who actually exist in the real world, and I've actually met. That's actually pretty interesting if you think about that. But anyway, back over into Snapchat My AI. Let's ask it a question here. So let's think of a common teen question. I don't know. Let's not do something illegal. So I don't think Snap AI is going to help us like plan out how to sneak out of your house at 11 o'clock to go meet up with your friends or something like that. I don't know if Snapchat AI would do that. Not that we would condone that anyway. But if you want, it's maybe. Let's see. How many states are in the USA? I mean, look, you should know it's 50, but like, I mean, some people don't know. I mean, they'll be like, on those interview channels, they'll be like, "Hey guys, so what's the capital of the United States?" And someone's like, "We have a capital? What?" Anyway, so I sent it in, and it says 50 states in the USA. Okay. What's another question that teens want to know? I don't know. I know lots of stuff, so I would know what the teens want to know. How do you know if someone is your friend? All right, it's loading. One thing I have noticed with Snapchat AI is that the answers have been a lot less friendly. They've been a lot shorter and a little bit, kind of. I think Snapchat, as you guys know, they don't make money. Like because no one is going to watch their stupid ads. Okay, no one cares about the stupid ads, and the ads are horribly targeted. I mean, like 5 out of 6 of the ads on Snapchat, of course, are going to be just like these. Hi guys, are you looking for love? Go to this random webcam dating app thing that no one's ever heard of. Like, no one's going to use that. We did a whole article about this and how they were like picking off random women off of TikTok. which is another thing. I did a vlog series thing, and it's just like, we hear about the prevalence of TikTokers and how people on TikTok are all doing these things out and about, doing all these stunts. I ran around a mall in the middle of summer break, okay? But 30 minutes of video airtime, I was there for like an hour and 30 minutes in real life, but it was 30 minutes of compressed video airtime. Um, and not a single TikToker showed up. Not one. Not one single TikToker was even present in the thing. I mean, you like sped ran that mall, like I said, faster than I sped ran Christianity. Anyway, back to the Snapchat AI answer quote. You know someone's your friend if they're supportive, trustworthy, and enjoy spending time with you. That's like 3 words there with Snapchat AI. Which, I mean, honestly, at this point, you could just run the Snapchat AI off of a super powerful phone. Which, again, would actually be super duper beneficial to the Snapchat application and to the Snapchat corporation. First of all, incentivizes you to buy a more powerful phone. Of course, Snapchat is one of the top applications, and somehow TikTok is also one of the top applications as well. I'm not sure how. Of course, TikTok makes money. Snapchat does not. Offloading this could, maybe they could get a partnership with Apple or Google or Samsung, whatever, to maybe some RAM manufacturers to get the offline AI application on here. You can also send back snaps to it if you want, which I guess you'd have to do that online. Um, and of course, for the other thing that people have, messaging. Boom. Teenagers really, really like to do that. I mean, we've seen that for like 20 years. When you go back and look at old episodes of Zoe 101, you see them using the, what do they call it? The T-Mobile sidekicks to message each other. There's an entire 2-part episode series about that. iMessage, super big application as well. I mean, some people even put their Snapchat tags in their Instagram bios, and then you can snap them on there as well. Of course, there's the security aspect of that whole thing I was talking about. Like if you're running for student council president, someone can't log into your text messages. They could potentially log in via Snapchat the web, but we can see how that is happening as well. Of course, you have the Snapchat stories, which I'm not sure if anyone uses. Of course, you have Instagram for that, but Snapchat is the one app. It is the it app. I mean, if you think about it, you got your picture messaging, you got your regular messaging. Doesn't cost any money as long as you have a Wi-Fi. If you don't see any pictures, it's going to be pretty good without data as well. With data as well, if you have a data cap. And you have content on here, and maybe if more teens started to use it and produce more content, like on the reels here, it'd be more than just random "Good luck to destroy" or just like videos for some person with some stupid, ridiculous caption that some in 2 months is going to make its way onto iFunny or X or whatever. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's kind of like the cesspool of the internet, as in cesspool of content, and cesspool of ads, and then I guess more interesting users. I mean, the only interesting part of Snapchat, other than the communication with the people that you are communicating with, is I guess the phony text stories and videos, because those are actually interesting. They have a plot, they have a story, and they actually can force you to see like a 5-second ad or whatever. But I've never bought anything off of Snapchat. No one's ever bought anything off of Snapchat as well. I mean, even their hardware merch as well. So Snapchat is the everything app. Maybe it's the best app. Maybe I've misjudged it too hard, too fast, or whatever. All right, Samsung. No, we're actually going to talk about time travel with Google. I thought I uploaded an image on here, but it didn't upload, so I'm going to have to upload it back again. And actually, I'm going to give you a demonstration of how you can time travel with Google. And the problem with this is that there's so many articles that exist today that are super duper SEO optimized, and that is completely and totally fine by me. I optimize my articles, or at least try to optimize my articles for the best clicks of the website. But the problem is that of course, they all buy ads onto Google to get the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 top spots. They all are kind of overview typical things. You see some of the things when you try to do like your own little research or rabbit holes, whatever. Like I say, you want to do some research into hacking, whatever. If I try to go say, let's see, how to hack into a Windows 10 computer remotely, I'm going to get a whole bunch of ads and search results from companies like NordVPN, which I think I'm affiliated with, ExpressVPN, a whole bunch of VPN providers on top of some quote unquote cybersecurity blogs that are just affiliate links and uh, sponsors, and they'll just give you a sort of top level explanation of things. So they'll be like, hackers can do this and they can do that. Hackers can do this and they can do that. They're not actually going to tell you how. They're not really going to give you many examples, and then they're just going to drop a link in at the bottom. All right. That's how the web works now. That's what I'm saying. The web is dead. But if you were to go back in time, maybe go set your Google to 2005 or whatever, then you'll be able to find more articles as well. That's why I really like the computer program in Carta, which ended in 2009, because they have a whole archive of news articles from like the 90s. You can see sort of a first-hand perspective as well. So if you're trying to do research about maybe a specific time period, you want to find articles from that time period, maybe you want to find out what happened in maybe 2005 or 1996 or something like that, or maybe you want to research a trend, like, I've been watching some teen television shows because I finally got Disney Plus, so expect more of the Odyssey Boy content as well. But in this show, Wizards of Waverly Place, which may actually be the best teen sitcom to exist, actually, which is really, really interesting. If you think about it, because it sounds like a show that doesn't really have that good of a premise, but actually is a pretty good show. Um, where you have these teens who are apparently wizards. It's not a demonic show, so the evangelicals in the chat can like stop crying or whatever. But and they get into hijinks, but it's a really interesting show. Each character is interesting. They have their own personalities. Of course, it is kind of stereotypical. Of course, you have like the main character girl, you have the smart kid, and then you have like the troublemaker kid. But because they have the little superpowers as well, and they have friends who have different personalities as opposed to other friends that might be on television. It's a really interesting show. We can go in onto that. Maybe we can do full episode reviews later if you guys are interested in something like that. But I digress. Anyway, what I was talking about is like in the show's from like 2007 to 2010, right? So there's an entire episode, or maybe there's some other Disney show. I think it was some other Disney show that aired around this time period as well. But I think it was that show, So Raven, where the kids get a cordless phone. So it's like it's a landline phone. It's not a cell phone, but it's a cordless phone. I was interested in thinking like, hey guys, what was this trend that was going on? Was this an actual trend, or was this just for television? I mean, it's a show where someone can tell the future. It's a show where someone can have these magical powers. So it's not like it's not like there's a real thing. I mean, one of the things that happens in one of these shows is there's a typewriter connected to like a 2005 esque screen, and they're on the World Wide Wizard Web. So it's not like this is a real baseline of how real life would work. I guess the way one want to be a bit more realistic as well, though. The Student Council elections and technology possess that PCA, Pacific Coast Academy. Yeah, PCA is a bit more advanced, or maybe just it's a super expensive rich private school, so they have the technology. But I digress. Anyway, and if you want to look that up, what kind of phones kids are using in 2025, you're going to get a whole bunch of course, now cell phones. You're going to get the iPhones. You're going to get those stupid Bark phones and those stupid Gap phones who try to buy those ads and sell $25 Samsung phones with reduced features and tracking on them for $100 to gullible parents. But I digress from that as well. So what you have to do is you have to go to your search engine. And I've already pulled this up, so I'm going to show this screen here. I've searched up Samsung here, and as you can see on the screen, you see all of Samsung's latest phones, the Galaxy Ring, which I have not seen any ads for, and of course the Samsung store. Now you'll go into tools. What you do is you click anytime, you go click custom range, and let's say you want to investigate what Samsung was up to, maybe pre-iPhone. So let's do 2000. Let's do 2006. And if you just type in the year, it's going to go to the last date of 2006, and it's going to go from whenever the internet was invented, whatever websites was up there as well. Now, the problem with this is, of course, you are going to get still some of the shopping stuff, is that websites are going to still, for SEO purposes, change their dates to add in stuff from 2006. So, oh, wow, just from 2006? Oh, wait, no, Samsung Care, Samsung Home. This obviously did not exist in 2006. That would have blown the iPhone totally away. So sometimes you have to go get off of this thing. And then also use this filter called web. This will then strip it from just anything. Okay, so you see all these ads here. These ads here, these ads here. This is the shopping thing. Or obviously, this TV didn't exist in 2006 as well. If you just use web, it's just going to give you like the old-fashioned just 10 blue links thing. So you're going to do is you're going to click web. Oh, and it turns off the time again, so make sure you type in your time. So this is really good for internet research. There you go. Click go again. About whatever you're looking for. All right, now. Of course, the search term Samsung is kind of broad But if you have a more niche search term, if you're looking for a news article, that's the way that you do it, right? That's how you can filter through the junk and the clutter that sometimes fills up Google search results. All right, and we will have an article after this on Monday talking about how you can face swap things online. I mean, sorry, offline on your Android phone. The face swapping, I give it like a 5 out of 10. Like it's not that good. I've done some stuff with Ava with it too, but I had some really good pictures from Gemini of Ava that I didn't want to mess up with the face swap. It's not the best face swapping application, so I used one of the internet applications as well. You see, one of the problems with the now destruction of PhotoLeap, which honestly I don't even know why I have this application anymore. It was only good for artificial intelligence image generation because it was able to face swap without me having to do it itself. Now it just has like AI selfies, stickers, fantasy portraits, and costumes, AI hidden faces. It's just obviously uses less server resources. But no, PhotoLeap is at its core a photo editing application. It's not a good photo editing application. Okay, it sticks its stupid watermark on everything when there's photo editing applications that you don't need that for. Um, it doesn't have that many features. It does have layers, but they're not that really good layers. It doesn't look like you can like skew stuff. It's not as good as PixKit. It puts its stupid logo on everything. It's not as fully featured as well. And that is a great transition to Photoshop has finally come to Android. And I'm not sure if it works only online, but it says requires 8 gigabytes of RAM. I'm thinking, yes, let's go. Finally, Photoshop on Android. This is what we've been needing. We've been wanting this from Photoshop for years now. And this is finally, and it might be the near destruction of the personal computer as we know it. I mean, think about it. What are the number one programs that are not web applications that people are using on their $1,000 Macs? The reason that some teens get Macs, right? I mean, it is the selling point that the teens use to get Macs to their parents. When in reality, they're using these Macs as either either phone, $1,000 phone stands, where they just take the phone, put it up here, and then they'll just use the phone. And guys, guess what apps are going to use on that phone? Obviously, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and maybe ChatGPT. And what's going to be on the Mac? Maybe a glorified television. They got Disney Plus, Netflix on there as well. Maybe and if they have a newer iPhone and a newer Mac, they don't even need the stand anymore. They'll just put the phone away, bring it up on the screen, and they have the Mac thing there. And I predicted that back in September, and I was told that was actually happening here. But now we got Photoshop on here. So, other than that, people are like, yes, I really need a Mac for my Final Cut videos or my, I got to use Google Docs. And of course, it's the Adobe Creative Cloud suite that always gets people Illustrator, Photoshop. And now the first domino has fallen. We got Photoshop on here. Photoshop's a subscription anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And they say it's fully featured. I have not seen that. I have not seen that, but they say it's fully featured, so I'm going to believe that. Here, so I tried to import some images here, and I tried to say maybe I can make someone skinnier. I can't really do that, or at least look at this toolbar. It is so people are saying that the Photoshop is as featured as the one on desktop, which, if true, computers are dead. Just get a tablet. Like, why would anyone pay money for that? Just get a tablet or use your phone. Seriously, I got 8 gigabytes of RAM on here. 512 gigabytes of storage. 12 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of storage. Quite literally, these were the same specs as my old laptop. That I was running this podcast off of for 2 years. In fact, the laptop even got slow for a period in the summer. And we just taped this podcast right off the phone, hooked it up to an external monitor. Not even off this phone, off my S22 Plus, which had 4 gigs less of RAM and, of course, a worse processor. So it wasn't the best for podcasting. I couldn't run all the web tools. I couldn't really do the live streaming and screen sharing. But the podcast was just taped and edited and uploaded there. And editing, I still edit videos on my phone rather than on the computer. On the computer, it's so slow. The programs are not as intuitive. Honestly, this could be the death of computing as we know it. Everything has been moved into to the web, right? All these tools, PDF converters, file converters. In fact, I saw some Reddit post posted to talk about how he finally made offline file converter. I'm like, finally. Like, praise the power to be. Like, goodness, is it that hard to make a offline file converter? Like, you think in the '90s, people were like, well, I wish for the day that we could convert this PDF to a doc. Oh, but I don't have Wi-Fi. I don't have internet. I long for the day. Like, goodness. You mean to tell me that people was just sitting around waiting so that they could get some $1 million servers and a web browser before they could convert their files? I mean, that's how bad the rot has become. Like the web has is truly dead. So anyway, here's this article from Ars Technica, which is a great website for tech stuff. Horrible website for anything else, for like policy, for just anything. Like the Ars Technica comment sections may actually be worse than Reddit, which is just, how is that possible? I mean, the people on Reddit come up with, I I I do not I do not know what the people on Reddit are thinking, or if they're thinking at all. Okay, the people on Reddit are brain dead, idiotic monkeys. That is what they are. All right, let me read you an excerpt from a Reddit commenter here, and just imagine this. But imagine this on tech. Remember the whole cancel the Verge petition thing that we're doing here? The Ars Technica commenters are some of the most snarky, annoying people that you will ever read in your life. Anyway, quote: I can't believe the Ten Commandments. This is from Reddit. Etched in stone are now to be laminated and thumbed beside the fire drill map. Nothing says moral clarity like cherry picking bronze age edicts for children who still gaze upon this righteous water as if the great melting pot now comes to the side of sanctimony. That is not just about history. If it were, you know, the founding fathers so adored were less holy men of God and more gentlemen farmers with enslaved labor. Slavery on one hand, scripture on the other. Moses must have loved the contradiction. They say these Judeo-Christian values made America great, perhaps, but Americans also made jazz, the polio vaccine, and public libraries, none of which were quite quoting God in cursive on a bulletin board. I'm only half done, people. And if you truly believe the moral leadership comes from hanging sacred texts on the wall, then why start with Moses? Let us go full North Korea, portraits of divine leaders in every room. Maybe toss in a loyalty pledge to King David while you're at it. This is not virtue, it is vanity. And worst of all, it is lazy pedagogy just as piety. Let schools teach kids how to think, not what to believe. Anything less, and you're defending in your faith. You're decorating it. Sorry, next post dietary restrictions of Leviticus in the cafeteria. No shrimp for you, young man. Yahweh's watching. The framers knew one thing well: religiously personal affair. It founders. It flourishes when it's voluntary and heartfelt, not when it's forced by the government decree or school bulletin boards. Yes, so that is the level of IQ on Reddit. I'm actually shocked everything in there was spelled correctly. Now imagine that, but there are Technica commenters, which we will be getting to soon. Anyway, here's an article from Ars Technica. Adobe finally releases Photoshop for Android, and it's free for now. So they're going to talk about the different Photoshop applications, yada, yada, yada. Good grief, that's a lot of ads. I want to see if we can find an article from that gives a overview of the tech in here. So they released it on iOS, and now it's finally over on Android. So congratulations, good for them. And you can see they have different layers, different pinpoint adjustments. You can delete stuff, which again, and you can also make your album cover. So good news for what's her name, Lana Del Rey. So yes, you can stop using PixKit from now on. You can actually use Photoshop in here. And here's some of the features that they have on here. So we got the blend mode. You can remove places of an image, Firefly, generative fill, object selection, layers, and effects as well. And all the features are free to use during the beta capabilities as well. And I read some article, so I need to find it and save it somewhere. If only there was an application that we could do stuff like that. Rest in peace, Pocket. Anyway, I was reading an article about it here, but it was saying it had like 95% of the regular features of the desktop Photoshop application. And I'm not sure how they were able to integrate. I'm not really sure how they were able to do that because I only saw 4 things on the toolbar. But look, if it's true, if it's right, then that's pretty pretty impressive right there for mobile application. And it's finally, finally making applications. Uh, we're finally making applications that are decent as well. Now, speaking of the United States of America, Spycatcher from Ars Technica again. Actually, the commenters were kind of saying on this one, but they're kind of like iffy. And this guy is just what an idiot. Spycatcher saw stupid tech errors that was made. FBI said he made them his own. So this guy works for the Defense Intelligence Agency, my fourth favorite intelligence agency of the United States, right after the NSA, CIA, FBI. Anyway, he had a top secret clearance and worked in the Insider Threat Division. So he had a pretty cool job. Okay, he was set. He got to work in the United States intelligence community. That's neat. Okay, that's actually neat. But no, he got all whiny. Okay, he got all whiny, and he lost his job, and is probably going to be in federal prison for a long, long time now. Let's see what Ars Technica reporting does here. So in 2018, he graduated and then joined the DIA. In 2019, he joined the DIA. He had a top secret clearance to read various special access programs, and it was his job to make sure that other people were not leaking some of the stuff as well. So he was, of course, now he's mad about America for some reason, and he sent an email to a quote friendly foreign government to offering to share classified information with them because of the quote recent actions of the current administration are extremely disturbing to me. He doesn't agree or align with the values of this administration and intend to act and support the values of the United States at one time stood for. I honestly do not know what he's whining about. Okay, he's probably just listening to so much Urban View. That is what the problem with the Urban View is. It's a stupid satellite radio station, and now this guy is probably going to federal prison because of them. Maybe. Who knows? And of course, the FBI was provided with this email, and he's going to jail because he's a whiny, conniving, sniveling little creep. Okay? Look, he is no worse than Edward Snowden, who probably should get the death penalty. Okay? He leaked sensitive information about the NSA to America, to Americans because he felt a little guilty. Stop feeling guilty. Just do your dang job. You took an oath. I assume they take oaths, and you're sworn to secrecy. Do your jobs, people, and stop getting whiny. You actually have a cool job. You're just, well, what kind of idiot? I'm sorry. He's a whiny idiot. But what kind of idiot sends foreign secrets over an email? I mean, if you're going to be a whiny, illegal traitor to the United States, at least be a smart, whiny traitor to the United States. Why would you, bro? Have you ever heard of the NSA? Is that no? That's not a thing that they teach in Russian agent school? What kind of idiot? what kind of idiot's like? Yeah, guys, I'm actually gonna send an email to full of classified information just with an email. So and here are the fails that this guy made, and it's great to laugh at traitors to the United States. So let's have ourselves a good laugh. He took some pictures of a U.S. government ID card to the kind used in the intelligence community. But apparently, like his ID number and stuff that wasn't redacted was shared on there. His anonymous email address, he actually sent an email from his real email to his anonymous email to test email address. Which is no. Why would you do that? I mean, I'm glad he did it, but why? Why would? Hey guys, I'm about to commit a crime. And just send myself an email with all the relevant information inside of it, so that when the FBI catches on, they make their job nice and easy for them. What was the thing? 3. Oh yes, email address failed again. He set up his real email address using his full name, date of birth, and phone number, and of course he had his IP address as well. Why? What kind of idiot does this? And that's what happens. He's just a whiny, what do they call it? Revolutionary. Revolutionaries suck. Okay, they're just awful people who aren't very smart and are just whiny. They don't actually care anything. Actually care. They need a purpose in life. They're like the that Asian kid from eliminate mouthed. And better drone struck now than later when you're trying to leak secrets to like what Canada, New Zealand. Like, did they think that they weren't going to get caught? I mean, who was this friendly foreign government to? Like, how many idiots were there too? Like, no. Let me see if I can find the. It's just ridiculous, ridiculous all around. These people. All right. What's the next thing? Oh yeah, and the commenters in most of these articles, stupid. Just stupid. Okay, we shouldn't have to read such stupidity. Speaking of reading stupidity, there was this Instagram post from some tech Instagram news Instagram thing here. They was announcing that the Costco hot dogs, which are $1.50, I believe, um, and a foot long. So that's basically pennies an inch. About what's that? 15 cents an inch, about right? A little less than 15 cents an inch. So that's pretty good deal for a hot dog, foot long hot dog. About maybe like 12 cents an inch or whatever. Yeah, something like that. Or we're going to be able to be financed by Klarna for like 30 cents and 4 payments, which is just ridiculous and stupid. You should not be financed. I mean, why would anyone finance $1.50 hot dog? That's ridiculous and stupid. But that was not the most stupid thing about that post. That was not the most annoying thing about that post. In fact, the people who are financing $1.50 hot dogs, as long as they're saying Costco hot dogs, are 10 times smarter than the Instagram commenters who were actually against financing the hot dogs. But look, they didn't speak English. They were calling these hot dogs, and I kid you not, guys, glizzies. I'm sorry, what? So I went in, I looked up to check up the word, make sure it was an actual word. No, it's not a word. They just made it up. It's from 2020. And honestly, no, that is the most annoying. Why would anyone call a hot dog a glizzy? That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make any sense in context. It's like it's a totally different language. And this is America. We're going to speak English when we refer to our hot dogs here. I mean, what's next? Are you going to refer to hamburgers as flizzies? Are you going to refer to mac and cheese as quizzies? Like, no. We're going to call them hot dogs in this country. I mean, honestly, that's probably one of the most annoying words in the history of human language. And by human language, I mean words that were invented 5 years ago in the middle of 2020, which was obviously a great year and had great decisions made. Not. So, everyone, I'm giving you 10 days. Stop using that word, or you all should be, along with Miss Wazin people and the spy catcher people, all will be sent to Gitmo, and you will be nuked. That is just no. Anyone who calls it glizzy deserves to be just arrested, just and kicked out. I'm sorry. No. Just no. Do not be calling hot dogs glizzies. I'm sorry. That's another just absolutely stupid, ridiculous. No, the decision here, people. This disrespectful to whoever invented the hot dog. All right, I'm here working on a special program. You see here with Chat GPT. I'm trying to see if it's actually going to work. So let me download my Excel simulator here. Oh my goodness, code interpreter session expired. There's one market that I have seen. It's the student council election simulation software market is non-existent. Like, it doesn't exist, and I think it should. So I've been working with ChatGPT to see if I can get a student council election simulation software to work. And while we are waiting on the software, it's time to react to some videos. So the Nintendo Switch 2 has released. So that's interesting, I guess. But we're going to be talking about the OnePlus 13S, which apparently stands for small. Really interesting phone animation there as well. I wonder how he did it. Hopefully, he didn't have to code that whole thing in Blender. That's oof. Oh wait, you guys can't see.
Subscribe.
Let me go back. So yeah, this is the phone animation to which I was referring. Also, really sad that they have to use that they're showing the gestures here. Just horrible.
The S stands for stronger, smarter, and subscribe, which is incredible because you guys just got 20 million subscribers onto this channel. So that's amazing. Thank you. No, but it stands for small. Small phones died with the Zenfone 10, the legend.
Womp womp. And it just shows that the free market, the invisible hand that everyone yaps about, showed that no one wants small phones. So isn't that unfortunate?
The legend. That was the last under 6-inch screen size flagship phone, and they're not coming back. So now it's time to redefine basically what a small flagship phone is. And it seems like the new bar we've set is 6.3 inches. So if a screen size of a flagship phone is under 6.3 inches, then that's one of the smallest flagship phones.
And that's
So
crazy, seeing as actually it doesn't really matter if it's a flagship because most mid-range and budget phones are super big because that's that person's one and only device. It's your TV, it's your radio if they still have a headphone jack in there. It's your phone. It's your tablet, which I wish saying it's your tablet. I wish that Samsung. You've got to be kidding me. Now you can see the video. I wish that Samsung had multi-user support on their Samsung phones. I mean, they have it on their tablets, of course, on these budget phones. You might have to share them as well. Also, on the expensive phones as well. If you share it as well, it gets spread around $1,000, spread around $250 each person. But I just wish they had that feature on there as well. It could be really interesting for of course, security reasons, privacy reasons. But mid-range phones and budget phones are not small, so it doesn't really matter.
So iPhone 16 is a 6.1 inch screen. Galaxy S25 is a 6.2 inch screen. Xiaomi
But
15
but the bezels are smaller, which I do like. I do like the return of a 6.2-inch screen.
is right around 6.3. And this new phone, this OnePlus 13S, is one of the best small flagship phones out there at 6.3 inches. And if you're willing to accept that that is the new bar, then this is kind of like the Zenfone 10 reincarnated, except for 2025. Now, my asterisk is this phone is not coming to the US, so if you're here, that's kind of a bummer, because I really
Well, I mean, that's unfortunate. So, I mean, I guess we could just leave the video, but we're going to stick it out.
like this phone, but it's not going to have all the bands required to be great in the US. But I've got my hands on it anyway, and there's basically 3 things you need to know. The first one is obvious. It has full flagship specs on paper. Snapdragon 8 Elite, 12 gigs of fast RAM, and up to a half terabyte of UFS 4.0 storage. And
Well, that's pretty good. That's about what my specs are as well. It's a bit more powerful, have the same amount of RAM, and half as much storage.
display up front is 6.3 inches, like I said, extremely small and even bezels all the way around, and really easy on the eyes. Almost 1440p resolution still, 120 hertz LTPO. And
One
up to
thing I have
1600
noticed
nits.
is that I have my screen set to the best settings, 120 hertz refresh rate at the QHD display. I have not really even noticed that on some of the shows that I've been watching and movies I'm watching on Disney Plus.
Or all the way down.
Maybe that's because they're older. Maybe it's just the application as well. But I haven't really noticed much with the phone, with the phone screen.
To 1.1 nits with PWM dimming. So they've cut down the size, but not really any other qualities of this screen. And even beyond the on-paper specs, this feels like a flagship phone too. It's compact, but this is a rock solid phone. Also really clicky buttons. And then of course this nice satin glass on the back. And it is very up to speed on the flat front and back aesthetic that is trendy with 2025 smartphones, which I also happen to be a fan of. And then with this relatively normal looking camera square.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of like the iPhone 16, if it's the island of the Pixel 4 or the iPhone 11.
On the back. If this phone was like 20% bigger, it would basically look and feel exactly like any other normal flagship. But thanks to its dimensions, it's a little bit lighter, a little bit more reachable, and a little more comfortable in every way. But also, they have done the OnePlus thing. And that either means nothing to you, or you hear that and you wince a little bit because you've watched these videos for a while and you remember that doing the OnePlus thing means Number one, they didn't add wireless charging to this phone.
Dang. Why? Why would they do that?
And number two, the camera is, I would just say, not going to be the reason why you buy this phone. But here's the battery situation here. And this one is so interesting to me. The battery is the strongest part of the OnePlus 13S. Inside, this thing has a 5,850 milliamp hour battery, which is incredible. Just for context, 4,000 milliamp hours, 5,000 milliamp hours, 5850. I mean, that's incredible.
This
This
just
phone
goes to show, like, why can't Samsung put in a much larger battery in the S24, S25 Ultra series devices? They should be able to do that. Come on. Also, like, I wouldn't have to carry around a battery case all the time. I mean, that is almost 1,000 milliamp hours larger. That's the same jump as from the S25 to the S25 Ultra, but in the S25 size.
This phone has easy 2-day battery life with normal use. Like I said, Zenfone reincarnated type stuff, and I'm using my phone at a high brightness, high refresh rate, everything on, endless battery here. And then the cherry on top is it's also 80 watt fast charging, so you can always plug in for a few minutes every couple of days and be good to go again. So yeah, there's no wireless charging, and that's an easy ding, but this is absolutely the perfect use case for a silicon carbon battery. It lets us break physics a little bit and make the phone smaller, but still have a massive flagship size
Hopefully,
capacity,
Samsung does that, or at least put a 6,000 milliamp hour battery in the S24 Ultra. But
is what I would say if this was a silicon carbon battery, but it's not. All of the specs I just said are true. 5,850 milliamp hours, 80 watt charging, 2-day battery life, not silicon carbon. When I first saw the spec sheet for this phone, I literally assumed it was silicon carbon because this is a tiny phone. It's impossible, right? It can't be a regular lithium-ion battery. But it's not, and that was kind of shocking. I kind of can't believe it's not. But then the second cherry on top for this phone is the version they're selling in China is going to swap out the 32 megapixel selfie camera for a 16 megapixel smaller camera and does have a silicon carbon battery because of the different.
why? I mean, they selfies are like huge in China and Asian countries. Why would they do that?
Priorities in that market. So that version is a 6,260 milliamp
Okay,
hour
I'll
battery.
take the boost selfies.
Wow. Like, I cannot imagine how good the battery life of that phone is going to be. Either way, the battery is a huge highlight of this phone. It's pretty sick. Now, the cameras, as I mentioned, not so much. I mean, they're fine. You've heard this about OnePlus phones in the past. They're passable. They're just not
I
going to
don't
be the
think
real
anyone would actually notice. Like, I think we've gotten to a point that smartphone cameras are good enough, unless like taking shots for a billboard or whatever.
reason you buy this phone. This is the same sensor as the ROG Phone 9 and the Moto Edge 50, just to give you an idea. And they chose to pair that main camera with a 2x telephoto for some reason instead of an ultra wide or a better zoom. But you can immediately get much more out of an S25 with its triple cameras, for example, or even others with a dual
Yeah, but
camera
I
where
did
one
wish
of
it
them is an
had
ultra wide.
the triple camera zoom.
The third and final thing you should know about this phone is that OnePlus's AI has arrived on it. And I've been testing it for a little while. It's one of those things that, again, you can easily dive all the way into it or totally ignore it and not use any of it. I tend to not use a lot of this stuff. But of course, they want to make it as easy as possible to dive right in because they've replaced the usual beloved alert slider with a single button here. And you can see where this is going. This is
Just
a
like Apple.
customizable button called the plus key. And sure enough, just like the iPhone's action button, they've built a special, very dark UI that they've stapled into their settings app for customizing exactly how you want this button to behave. And the default is saving whatever you're doing to the mind space, which is this AI organized memory bank for all your
So it's just like the Nothing phone as well. So I actually do like that. I think that's really interesting.
screenshots and taking action on them and pulling information out of them later. Pretty damn similar to the Nothing phone's essential space. I've talked about this before. Cool concept. Like every once in a while, it's a really cool, useful thing. Like someone sends you a text with a screenshot of a concert poster, and then you can like save it and get the information later. It's nice, but it also doesn't work anywhere outside of sync anywhere. I can't triage this on a bigger screen on my laptop or something like that. So,
Which, I mean, that's really weird how we've essentially used phones services and applications, and you just transition computers to just, oh, it's a bigger screen. I like to do my work on a bigger screen, but that's it. Like that's the only feature. Like just get a Chromebook at that point.
So it breaks my number one rule of organizational software of not being multi-platform. But there's also other little stuff like there's an AI editor in the Photos app now that
Oh,
will
it's true.
unblur moving objects and erase reflections in glass or erase background objects. Pretty classic stuff that we've seen. And there's a Translate app that does live audio translations for multilingual conversations. Nothing like mind-blowing or groundbreaking on other phones before, but it is nice that OnePlus at least has this stuff built in now instead of relying on Google for it. This is also coming via a software update to the OnePlus 13,
All right, that's also good as well. You know, it's not like it needs special features, special functions
although
for it to
that
work.
phone still has a slider instead of the button, so you have to access it with a three-finger swipe up instead. I'd take the slider. Now, some other little things I noticed while dailying this phone should come with the context of the price. So, here is that price. It's pretty good, 650 bucks roughly equivalent in the US. Again, feeling like the Zenfone reincarnated. But I did notice things like the fingerprint reader under the display being optical
I wish it was a little bit higher. I mean, dang, that is like what, half an inch above the bezel.
instead of the faster ultrasonic fingerprint sensors. Not a huge deal, but makes sense at this price point. I also found the lack of double tapping the power button for camera kind of weird on this phone. I feel like
Oh, that's
99 out of every
no,
100
yeah, not
Android
an
phones
iPhone.
that crosses my plate automatically has double click for camera turned on, or at least lets me easily turn it on. But unless I'm missing something, this is like the 1 out of 100 that doesn't. But you can, I guess,
That's
remap
so
the
sad.
plus key to be the camera quick launch if you want to do that instead. But then speaking
But that's just like the iPhone. I'm
of the
sorry, that's
plus
just like the
key,
iPhone.
that animation, I mean, do I do I really have to say it? I mean, we all know they just okay, as long as we're on the same page. Also, sweet new feature that I discovered on this phone, but that's probably more useful on bigger phones. This icon pull down gesture in Oxygen OS 15. This is so smart. It basically just takes all of your clickable icons on your home screen and just drags them down to the corner to make them reachable with a single swipe.
Oh, speaking of, he did that thing with Gemini. I have my assistant, of course, set to Perplexity. I might have switched it back to Gemini. I have updated my phone, and now I cannot do that pull-in thing. So I've not talked to Gemini or Perplexity like that in ages, which
It
is
is
not
so
good.
clever. I love it. But overall, moral of the story is the benchmark for compact or small flagship phones has moved up basically over 6 inches now. But if you want the one with the best battery life, there's no question this is it. Super smooth software, super fast charging, and it has the AI feature.
You know, that's pretty much all you need in a phone. If you think about it, other than the cameras, like why are people still buying like phones? If you think about it, like I mean, it, if all the applications are still the same, and we don't have anything new being made, I mean, it's kind of a stagnant market. But hopefully it doesn't crash. Hopefully it doesn't crash. All right, now on to this might be one of the worst trailers of in movie history. Let me see if I can just pull it up. Nope, it's not. It's not that trailer. Let me see if I can find. See if I can find it. All right, this might be one of the worst trailers of movie
Well, that didn't
history.
turn out too
Here's
well.
why.
Just last night, actually, I had to do 20 idea journals in.
Hopefully, I don't get copyright stricken for this. Here we go. Oh, you guys can see. All right, great.
This summer, when we need a hero, look up.
I think I just smurfed my pants.
Now that line there, it's supposed to be a joke or something like that. Yeah. All right, guys. Could you imagine uh, if you used any of the what do you guys think? Are the Smurfs a race or a gender? Well, I guess it's not a gender or a people group or whatever. I mean, Could you imagine if you just use any other race or animal or people, tiger, Asian or whatever, and compared them to poop? That's no. That's just wrong. Totally wrong. This is Smurfism right there. So yeah, no, that again doesn't make sense in context. Could you imagine if you just said, "Oh, I just humaned my pants"? Like what? No.
Please don't stop the music. In Smurf Village, every day is a party.
Why? Why? Just cause? Like, wait, what are y'all, communists or something? Is that why he's wearing a red hat?
Every Smurf has a job, like grout.
Which I guess that disproves the communist theory. But okay.
Having a job.
Influencer.
Smash that subscribe button.
Also, where is his arm? And also, again, he is in a village of like 250, maybe just 50 Smurfs. What is he influencing? He could just stand there and be like, "Hey guys, buy this, okay? Thanks." And why does he look like this? That's just so weird. Like, could he influence him to wear a shirt?
And me, the coolest Smurf in the whole village.
Okay, A, why does she look like this? And B, do you think there's a reason why she might be the coolest Smurf in the whole village? Besides, being cool is not a job. If being cool was a job, I'd be a multi-millionaire. But the point of this is, how is being the coolest Smurf in the whole village a job? And also, why do you think you're the coolest Smurf in the whole village, Smurfette? And I'll point it out for you, easy. It's because you're the only girl in the village. Okay, it's essentially crush theory, but what hyper crush theory. That's what this is. Okay, every other male Smurf in the village except for Papa Smurf who wants to date you, and that's why you're the most popular Smurf in the village. Sorry about that. Also, how is this a ad or tagline? Rihanna is Smurfette. How does it matter? She's a singer. Okay, she's like, what is Smurfette gonna sing or something? Like, I don't care who this voice is. People do not go attend Rihanna concerts so they can hear Rihanna yap for two hours long.
Yep, isn't it grand living in a place where nothing ever goes wrong?
And look, here's proof. Male, 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 male. Like, how did all these Smurfs get made? Where was their mom? And would that mean they're all related? Like, it just looks so incredibly boring. Just like standing there side by side dancing. What is this?
Oh no, something's wrong.
Everyone, listen to me. Your lives are in terrible danger. Smurf Village isn't safe anymore.
Just
Come on, we gotta rescue Papa.
To save their world,
Run away.
they must come to ours.
why? And also, what, they just had this technology all the time and just so what you're saying is these Smurfs could have gone to Earth and done stuff, but instead they just opted to stand around and dance for 23 hours a day and get an hour of sleep in Smurf Village. Also, once again, school dances, I must confess, have got to be the greatest scam pulled off of all time. Like, just think about this. Think about in the 1950s, you have like some principal, you have some, you have some governor or whatever, you have the student council president, sitting around and having a meeting like, guys, revenue is down. We need money into school. And they're like, yes, we need money. And I also need something to do. I need something to campaign on so I can win the student council election for 4 years straight. And they're like, yes, we need that. We need something for you to actually do, something that you can actually promise. And they're like, yes, this is what we need. They're like, guys, I have this great, amazing idea. Let's have a dance where you get all these kids who don't know how to dance, who don't have outfits, and are kind of awkward and bored. and will probably hate the music, but we get them to pay for it. And you get them all in one place, and they'll kind of awkwardly shuffle around the school gym. And they're like, "What? People actually gonna pay for that?" And they're like, "No. Are you out of your mind? No one's gonna pay for that. Why would anyone pay to show up to a school and start dancing with people that you've never met, or pay to dance at all? I mean, it's the 1950s. Church is free." And they'd be like, but, no, we need this. Hold on, let me get Disney. They call Disney. They're like, "Hey guys, so we need the media to start pushing propaganda for us." They're like, "What is it?" And boom, behold, the media then pushes this idea onto teens that school dances are fun, and then the school dances then get promoted by student council, and student council is able to rake in the money. I mean, honestly, that's the most realistic conspiracy theory that I can come up with. It's obviously a conspiracy theory. Think about it, guys. The schools are probably low on money, so like, we need events, and they're like, "Yes, we need an event, and we need something with student council to do." Boom, voila, school dance, and they're like, "No one's gonna do this. No one's gonna buy this thing." They're like, "Not unless we go call our friends over at Disney," and then they just go in and they invent the teen movie plot, which is used in hundreds of teen movies and grosses super well, and it influences teens of generations. And it's essentially this. Ready? You have some random kid in a new school or a new town or whatever in a transition grade. So maybe they're going to high school, maybe they're going into sixth grade, maybe it's their last year in high school, right? So you have to have a transition grade. You have to them be a little bit older. Okay, no one cares about the elementary school dance. I mean, no one cares about the middle school dance, but I mean, no one actually cares about the elementary school dance as well. Anyway, you get them up, you round them up, you say, "Hey guys, we're going to this new school, we're going to this new town or whatever," and the kid isn't perfect. They have like one flaw. If they're a boy, maybe they're not as athletic as their main rival. If they're a girl, maybe they're not as pretty as their main rival. And then maybe if they're a girl, they're like super smart and like a nerd, and that's bad. And if they're a boy, they're like super stupid and don't like sports. Maybe they're interested in like astronomy or something like that, but like horrible at every other subject. And then they walk into the school, which apparently already has like this super hyper clicky, president, or like the most powerful kid in the school. Maybe she's not president. Their rivals are usually of the same gender as them. So if it's a male rival, I guess it's mostly female. If it's female, it's a female rival. And then they walk in, they trip over like some book or something, and then they see him or her or whatever. Random blonde hair floating through the wind, and apparently your brain shuts down, and it just freezes, and instead of trying to, I don't know, beat the freeze, which we did. Okay, I beat the freeze. They think, "Hey guys, wow, look." They trip as they trip over the books. They see the blonde hair flying throughout the wind or whatever, and then they see some poster that says "School Dance Saturday in like 3 months" or whatever. And as they trip, like, "Wow, I must go to that dance," and then they fall face down into the into like some puddle of water, and like the super powerful mean kid kind of laughs at them, and for some reason, of course, the object of their affection is like perfect and can do no wrong, but for some reason is friends with the super mean kids as well, but they're perfect, a 10 out of 10, they're super smart, you know whatever they think perfect is. Anyway, and then the entire plot of the movie is just like trying to do stuff and get close to them and etc., so that they can go take them to some school dance that costs like $50, and they can drink like trash punch that they could have gotten for free, or close to free at Walmart or HEB. And that's the entire movie. And then finally, the person they have a crush on like dances them or kisses them or whatever, and boom, the end of the movie. Absolute propaganda, people. Propaganda. That is what this is. Okay, what those movies are doing is they've influenced the hearts and minds of young teens to think that A, that's realistic, and it's B, something they actually want to do, which it's not something I actually want to do. It's kind of like it's not actually something they want to do. Obviously, it's not something they want to do. Like if you actually say, "Hey guys, let's get a whole bunch of sweaty 14-year-olds and have them dance to a whole bunch of trash songs for 3 hours and to make them pay $50 for the privilege of doing it, while also threatening the national security state of the school, no one would say yes, that's a great idea. Well, except for student council, because they need something to actually govern. So yeah, obviously propaganda from the Disney there, and I congratulations to them as well. I mean, they probably boosted millions, billions and billions of dollars of student participation in fees and etc. for things of that nature. All right.
Whoa, where are we?
It's Paris.
Get out of the way!
Come on.
Wow. Very, very interesting. I'm just going to skip through. Here we go. Oh, yes. Here's the scene.
I'm Papa Smurf's brother. You Smurfs don't know Smurf about Smurf.
I can.
Again, once again, using Smurf as an insult. How does that even make sense? Let's just change this to humans. You humans don't know human about human. What? Again, makes zero sense to use your own race, I guess? Kind? Gender, maybe? As an insult. I mean, I'm just going to assume that, like, this Smurf here is just an anomaly. Because, like, every single Smurf is a male. Well, except for that. I guess, like, what, if they wear shirts, they're women, and if they don't, they're men? Is that how this works here? And also, just low IQ here. I mean, just, well I'm sorry, he looks, I mean, well, the one woman in your town, and you made her leader? I'm sorry, what? Why? Like, being cool is not a job, people. It's not a job.
Smurf that Smurf up and have it delivered to your house.
That sounds...
Again, what? Let's just change this to human again. I can human that human up and have it delivered to your house. What? Again, zero sense here. Zero sense. I mean, honestly, this is the definition of trying too hard. Like, this is kind of like if the show Saturdays actually tried to find the joke but couldn't, but they actually tried.
Sounds like a load of Smurf.
Hey,
That sounds like a load of human.
stick a Smurf in it.
They will face new villain.
Wait, what? Isn't the phrase "stick a sock in it"? And that's mean stick a sock in your mouth. So, according to this logic, she wants him to eat the other Smurfs. So, Smurfs are apparently poop, food, and a whole bunch of other insults. Could you imagine if they did that for any? Yeah, no.
This is the handiwork of the evil wizards Gargamel and his brother Rosamel.
We're going to play a game called Let's Squish a Smurf Till All You Smurfs Are Squashed.
See, he's actually smart. He could have said, "Let's squish the Smurf until all you Smurfs are smurfed," which I guess they could have put in the movie, but they didn't. So he might actually be the smartest one on the show.
That doesn't sound like a fun game.
Team up with new allies.
We're the International Neighborhood Watch Smurfs. Paris
The neighborhood watch.
Division.
And take adventure
It's time for you to find out what a Smurf really is.
to a
Well, we've actually found out that a Smurf is poop, an insult, and something that you
whole
think about.
new dimension.
Oh, I hated this part. Yeah, they like go up an octave on the song, and then he's like,
What's happening?
like, what do you mean, what's happening? Like, that's so annoying. What do you mean, what's happening? If we knew what was happening, we'd tell you. Just sit down, be quiet, and figure out what's going on. Annoying little Smurf.
Hang on!
That was absolutely terrifying.
I think I swallowed my gum.
Smurfs.
I just, Smurfs.